Hi there and welcome to Yarnspirations. My name is Mary Beth Temple from Hooked for Life, and in this video we're going to take a closer look at the Bobble and Fringe blanket. Now this is a lot of fun. It is made in Bernat Softee Chunky and is a variation on a chevron, but it has these really cool textural popcorns in it, and of course when you get done you can just lavish it with fringe and it's a very sophisticated look. While we're thinking about it, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content weekly on knitting, crocheting, and other yarny stuff. To make this blanket, you're going to need 5 balls of Bernat Softee Chunky. We used faded denim, but of course you can use any color that coordinates with your home decor. You're going to need a size US L11 or 8mm crochet hook, or size needed to obtain gauge, and of course this fabulous pattern. So let's get going and look at the very beginning of the blanket. So let's take a look at the very first row, and this is a right side row. We're going to skip the first 3 chain and double crochet 3 together over the next 3 chains. So we're going to skip the first 3, 1, 2, 3. Double crochet 3 together in the next 3. Now, as is often the case here on Yarnspirations, I am working in the back or the bump of the chain instead of the front or the V, as many of us have been taught. I find it makes a neater and more elastic edging, and I do that for all my projects. So you can work in the front if that is your preference, but if you don't have a strong preference, it's really great to learn to go in the back or the bump. Just gives you a neater edge as you learn more stitches. So we're going to double crochet 3 together. So that's yarn over and draw up a loop in that chain. Yarn over, draw through 2 loops on hook. Now I have 2. I'm going to do that twice more. Yarn over, insert the hook in the next chain, yarn over and draw it up, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 3. Yarn over, go into the next chain, yarn over and draw it up, yarn over, draw through 2. Now I have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to yarn over and draw through all loops on hook. Now in other places in the pattern you will see a double crochet 5 together. You're going to do that same thing, except you're going to do it 5 times, not 3 times. So this is going to count as 2 double crochet. So the top of the chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and the top of the decreased stitch counts as a double crochet. Double crochet in each of next 9 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 double crochet in next chain. So once again, I like to work in the back or the bump of the chain, and I'm going to put 5 all in that same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see already you're starting to get the chevron look. This is obviously the bottom of the chevron, and this is obviously the top. Now let's take a look at that in chart form. This is where we are so far. We got right up to here. Now I am making a smaller sample. I'm making a sample the width of the chart. Yours of course will be much larger. So the next thing I'm going to do is double crochet in each of next 9, and then I'm going to do a double crochet 5 together in the same way that we did the 3 together at the beginning. So I'm going to put my 9 in, and I'll meet you back here for that decrease. All right, I've done my 9 doubles. Let's do that double crochet 5 together. So yarn over, insert your hook in the next chain, yarn over, draw it up, yarn over, draw through 2. I'm going to do that a total of 5 times. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to have 6 loops on the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yarn over, draw through all of those loops. So that is the bottom of my chevron. So where the increases are is the top, or the pointy part. Where the decreases are is the bottom or the valley. So once again, we're going to take a look at this. Now when I compare the text pattern to the chart, I can see that that repeat begins where that asterisk is, before the double crochet 5 together, and it ends after I have done the increase and the 9 stitches following the increase. So my repeat goes from here to here. So right before that 5 together, and ends at the 9 after the increase. And then it says I'll have 4 chains left, double crochet 3 together, double crochet in the last stitch. So now I'm going to do the second row. The second row, you will notice, is exactly the same as the first row, but the only thing that's different is instead of going into chains, we're going into stitches. So this one's a no-brainer. You got this. You're going to do that same increasing and decreasing, but instead of working into chains, you're working into the double crochets of the row before. So I'm just going to hit the highlights. I'll be right there. On that very first double crochet 3 together, your chain 3, which you used to turn, stands in for that very first stitch. So your double crochet 3 together starts in the next stitch. So yarn over, insert in the stitch, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and a third time. Yarn over, insert your hook in the next stitch, yarn over, pull it up, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through the whole thing. Then I'm going to put my 9 double crochets in, and then when I get to the increase, it'll be right here in the center. I'll put my 5 there. And then when I get to the next decrease, that double crochet 5 together, it's going to be in these stitches down here. All right, so go ahead and finish row 2, and we'll take a look at row 3. Now moving on to the third row, you can see that the third row looks exactly like the second row, except instead of working a double crochet in every double crochet, it's double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next double crochet, and we're going to look at that. But the other thing I want you to get a feel for as we're stitching, with the exception of the puff row, which we're going to look at later, I want you to notice that the increases are all stacked up on top of each other. So if you're stitching along and your increase does not sit nicely on top of the previous row's increase, you know you've made a mistake and you want to go back and double count. Now for the decreases, they all sit on top of each other except for row 6, which, well, again, I promise we're going to look at that. But again, get in the habit of, if your decreases are not sitting on top of each other, you've probably made a miscount somewhere, and it's easier to take something out and fix it when you've only got to rip out a couple of stitches and not have to rip out a whole bunch of rows, right? So let's take a look at this third row. So we've turned the work, we're going to chain 3, and then we're going to double crochet 3 together, and that's how our other rows have started, so that won't be so hard. So turn the work, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet 3 together. Remember, we're not going to start in that very tippy first one because that's got the chain 3 on top of it. So 1, 2, 3, yarn over and pull through all. So there's our double crochet 3 together. So now it's chain 1, skip 1, double crochet, and next double crochet. So chain 1, skip. Now you got to skip the first double that doesn't have a stitch in it, and because this is way over here, sometimes you have to pay a little attention, but you're skipping this guy over here. The first empty one is the one that you're skipping, and then you're just going to put a double in the next one, and then we're going to do that 1, 2, 3 more times. So chain 1, skip 1, double in the next double, so that was our 3 times. So now we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and put 5 double crochets in the next double crochet. And once again, you can see how they're lining up. So I chained 1, skip this one, 5 doubles in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's chain 1, skip 1, double in next double, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Chain 1, skip the first empty one, double in the next double. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet 5 together. So chain 1, skip this one, double crochet 5 together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over, pull it through all 6 loops. And that's what that looks like. So you're going to go ahead and finish that row. That is the third row. And when you get to the fourth row looks exactly like the second row. We see a lot of this second row. The fourth row looks like the second row, except, again, you are treating your chain 1 spaces as stitches. So instead of double crochet in each 9 double crochet, you're going to double crochet in the next double crochet in the chain 1 space, double crochet in the double crochet in the chain 1 space. And when you're doing these decreases, chain 1 spaces count. So instead of on that decrease at the bottom, instead of doing a decrease in 5 double crochets, you'll be picking up in a double and the chain space, and then the decrease, and then the chain space, and then the double. All right, so that is what the fourth row is going to look right. So I'm going to put that on, and we're going to come back. I want to take a look at those puff stitches on the 5th row. So here we are at the end of the 4th row. You see we have nice strong peaks and valleys, and we have nice straight edges at either side. Now earlier when I was talking about the increases and the decreases stacking up, I called the 5th row a puff row, but of course it's a popcorn row. I misspoke. I got my P words mixed up. So we're going to do a popcorn. Now to do a popcorn, we're going to work 5 double crochet into the indicated space, drop loop from hook, insert hook from front to back into first double crochet, a 5 double crochet group, pull, drop, loop through stitch. So we're going to take a look and see what that looks like. And so I'm going to turn the work and chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and start with that double crochet 3 together like we've been doing all along. 1, 2, 3, yarn over and pull through 4. So there's my beginning. Now I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet. So again, it's way over here. You have to skip the first empty one. And then I'm going to put a popcorn in the next stitch. So to make that popcorn, I'm going to put 5 double crochets in the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I finish that 5th one, I like to pull the loop up a little bit just so it doesn't come out. You can tighten it up later. So I'm going to take my hook out. I'm going to insert my hook front to back through the first stitch. I'm going to grab that loop and pull it through. And now I can tighten it up on my hook. And so you can see that the first stitch winds up next to the 5th stitch, and it gives you this popcorn. It gives you this nice texture. So then moving forward, I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet. Again, it's him over here that's empty. And let's see that popcorn one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend the loop a little bit so it doesn't come out. Take your hook all the way out, insert it front to back through the first of those 5 double crochets, grab that loop and pull it all the way through, and tighten it up. And there are our popcorns. So following along in the text or the chart, you're going to keep following along, and then you'll notice instead of the 5 stitch increase up here, you have popcorn, chain 3, popcorn in the same stitch. And there's your 5 stitch decrease like we've been doing. And then we're going to do that up and down to the end, and you're going to end it with your 3 double crochet, your double crochet 3 together, and your double crochet in the last stitch. And then that will be the end of the 5th row. So I'm going to finish that row. We're going to take a closer look at it, and then we're going to work on the 6th row. So here we are after the 5th row with all of our popcorns. Now, some people get anxious. They're stitching around and it goes through the other side, and they go, oh no, I made it wrong. Don't worry about it. Just use your finger and pop it back to the right side. That happens a lot, particularly when you're learning to do them. But that's not something you have to rip out and fix. And you just use your finger to poke it back where it belongs, okay? So the last row that I want to do on camera is row 6. Now, row 6 is the only row that does not begin and end with that double crochet 3 together. There, I've adjusted the lighting a little bit so you can see better. So we're on the 6th row right here, and this is where you can see there's no decrease at the beginning and the end. So we're going to turn the work and chain 3, 2 double crochet in each of next 5 chain 2 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and those are the spaces between the popcorn stitches. Let's see, 5 double crochet in next chain 3 space, and the chain 3 spaces are at the very tippy top where there's 2 popcorns next to each other with a chain 3 in between. So there's our 5 double crochets up there, and then 2 double crochet in each of next 4 chain 2 spaces, 1 2 3 4, and then double crochet in the space, double crochet in the decrease, double crochet in the space. So then from there on out it's 2 double crochets in each of the next 4, 1 2 3 4, increase. Or so it's 4 in a row and coming up where that decrease is, or it's 4 in a row and you're putting that increase in. So let's take a look and see how that looks on camera. Again, I'm gonna, give me 1 second, I'll just adjust the lighting again so you can see the stitches better. All right, I've turned the work in chain 3, and it's going to be 2 double crochet in each of the next 5 chain 2 spaces. So the first one is right after that decrease. So it's 1, 2 stitches in the same place. So again, way over here after that popcorn stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 double crochet in that chain 3 space, and that chain 3 space is at the top of the peak, and it's between the 2 popcorns that were in the same stitch. So there's my chain 3 space at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 2 double crochet in each of the next chain, in the next 4 chain 2 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 'and then here we are down in the valley. So we're going to have 3 double crochets in a row, 1 before the decrease, 1 in the top of the decrease. Now the hat is over here. I know it looks like 2, but if you were headed in this direction, you could tell that the top of that stitch is that side. If you put it in the other one, would it be the end of the world? No, as long as you're consistent throughout. And then 1 in the chain space after the decrease. So that's all there is to the 6th row. Now moving forward, what's going to happen? We're going to repeat that 2nd row numerous times. So the 7th to the 10th rows are the 2nd row over and over and over again. The 11th row is the same as the 3rd row. It has the chain spaces in it, but note that you're working in the back loops only from here on out. So then you're going to repeat the 4th to the 11th rows until the work from the beginning measures approximately 59 inches or 150 centimeters, and you're going to make sure that you end on a 4th row so that it looks even as compared to the bottom. And then you're going to put 1 last 2nd row on. So you'll have 2 rows before a mesh row on one end, and you'll have 2 rows after the mesh row on the other end, and end off. After that, all you need to do is cut the fringe, Cut lengths of yarn 12 inches or 30.5 centimeters, taking 2 strands together, knot into fringe along top and bottom edge of blanket and into remaining front loops of each 11th row, repeated throughout the blanket, and trim the fringe evenly. By which we mean, when you get to the 11th row, and the 11th row is the same as the 3rd row, so let me find the 3rd row. On the subsequent iterations of the 11th row, which is the same as the 3rd row, you're working into the back loop. And because you're working into the back loop, the front loop is empty. So your fringe is going to go right here. So your fringe goes at the base of the mesh row. All right, so I hope that you have had a wonderful time here working on the Bobble and Fringe blanket. I'm Mary Beth Temple for Hooked for Life. Please subscribe to the channel here at Yarnspirations for fresh content weekly on knitting, crocheting, and other yarny stuff. And we look forward to seeing you again here real soon.